Okay, so now as we're swinging towards the end of this story, I think I'd like to go back and look at the Kabbalah, the situation that Rebbe Kodesh is talking about. At the beginning of the story, it says that the king spoke to his most beloved daughter, and he told her, he said some harsh words to her, and to the extent that, he wanted to send her to a place that was not good. So, the question is why? Why would the king do this? Who's the king to begin with? So we understand that there are layers and layers and layers in this multi-layered onion that we've been talking about. So onion has a certain connotation. It's not to be an onion, but it's certainly something that's ball shaped, that is in, say, in an onion type formation. So why would he do that? Why would he send her away? What's the point of all of this? So, but irregardless of the point, what Rabbeinu Kodesh is coming to tell us is that we're living here. We're living in this point. So let's say like this: it's at the very beginning of all creation is only oneness. It's empty, totally empty. There is no thing there, but it is a total one entity. For whatever reason, which is impossible to really understand, and the Rav says that the reason why Hashem created all the different layers and brought us to the outside of this ball, so to speak, why he did that was so that we could call upon him in different kinds of names, which we'll maybe go into another time because I can't remember them right now, but they'd be called, so say, be called kind. Or that we could call that, is this what Hashem needs this? He needs to create a whole world with all the difficulties that this world has, all the suffering that it has, and all the knowledge that we have is that we're on a cycle that eventually will bring us back into the earth. So why is it? What's the point of this? So this is a key question that's involved in this. So what Rabbeinu Kodesh wants to say is that that's true. That is in fact the situation. Is that we are sent out from a state of total oneness to a state of total separation. Separation does, and here we are, all separate, everybody different books, different people, different clothes, all different kinds of things. We're different. Why we do that? So here he wants to say is that actually it's really to great extent an illusion. It is only really one. But the idea is to come up with the understanding that the neshama, which is inside of us, the Shekhinah, which is inside of that, and the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, which is inside, is really only one. And the purpose of the exercise, perhaps, I said your opinion would be also very, in my opinion, the purpose of this and all of this cycle that we go through is to tie it back together again. So we have a whole series of things that we could discuss in Kabbalah, but here we are with the tzaddik emes, or the tzaddik that is inside of us, wanting to find his way back to oneness again. Because making a yichud with infinity is the most wonderful thing in the world, even if it only takes place in a moment. That's the enjoyment, the real enjoyment that we have in this world, is to find the oneness in every single different aspect. And as we do that, we actually rebuild the world. There's different techniques that the Rav has talked about and that he loves to talk about, and that's his main focus. So the story is that the way that the story is told at this point is after the princess is sent away and she finds herself in a place that's no good, and then the tzaddik starts looking for her because he can't find himself. He doesn't see where he is in the world. And he makes contact. After going through all the physicality of his life, and just think what it was like when you were 13 and 14 or 15. Just think if you were a Baal Tshuva like me, and you came from a place where people didn't have an idea of what it was like to get in touch with God. So all of these different things, as you're coming back, is that you need this. This is something that you actually need inside of yourself. Your body wants it, as he said yesterday. And so he makes contact. And the contact is that you have to start purifying yourself for a whole year, but he falls. Okay? Now, sometimes when you have the concept of a year, I'm not saying that that's exactly what Rabbeinu Kodesh means, because he did say it's a year, and right before Rosh Hashanah, Rav Shek wrote like that. It could be that the idea of a shana is really a number. It could be many different kinds of concepts of what a year actually means. But at any rate, it's a whole cycle, starting from the beginning of the year, going all the way around through winter and spring and then summer and back to the beginning of the fall where you started, and at the end of the cycle, falling. Tremendous amount of effort, and then at the end you fall. So in the end, he ate the apple. In the end, his body kept going, but he went to sleep for a long time. And so now he comes back and he finds her again. And he talks to her. And he wants to be with her. And she wants to be with him. This is the lost princess, your Shechina, your Nefed, your Neshama, which is inside of you. The thing that makes you breathe and be alive. It wants you, that is your physical self and your spiritual self, to become one. So he tries again. So she says that this is what you have to do. You have to do the whole thing, go through a whole entire cycle. Okay? Put the word number of year. Year is the number 355. So it's an interesting concept that the Jewish year is 355 days, and there's 10 days short, so you're so a number of days short in the lunar cycle, and it had to be made up. That's a whole different story of itself. So anyway, we go back and we see that he's going to try it again. And she tells him to try it again. Goes out, tries it again, and he comes to on the last day, he comes to a spring. The spring is flowing like crazy, and he sees there, instead of water in the spring, he sees that it looks red, and it smells like wine. And he just wanted to test it out, that's all. Now, this is what? He's perfect. 300 let's say a shana, 354 days perfect. 364 days perfect, however you want to count it. And then it's not anything big. It's just that he just wants to put a little taste of what's in there in his mouth. And he does that. And as a result of that, one teeny flaw, he falls back asleep. And that could go in a lot of different ways. Now, let me see. So I read that part. He fell asleep. So this is where the Rab picks up the story now. He falls asleep after drinking just a taste of the wine. So then, as he was sleeping, he's sleeping by the stream, he says many, many soldiers came by. And they had lots of accompaniment with them, like say the guns or their wagons or whatever. Because he said, so that when your soul is now taken by the klipos, and that you're really, what are these klipos anyway? Remember, I was saying this morning that they're like sharks. The sharks of the world that live around us, that are constantly enticing us to go think about this or go do that. Because then, once you're trapped, there's a lot of soldiers of all different kinds that keep you there. Now, one of the things is that's appropriate to the discussion that we're in general, is of exactly how it is that the real reality sent his daughter out away from oneness into a place like this. What was I going to say? It'll come back to me. So his body, he hit himself because of this. Because the body is very, very frightened. And see that even though that you yourself, when you're in a physical state, you may not see anything, but there's still life in your neshama, even though it's sleeping. And so then great chariot came by. and the princess was on this coach. V'amdo sham etzlo, and she stood there by him. V'yarda v'yashva etzlo v'hikira also, and she sat next to him and she recognized him. But she tried to wake him up, but he wouldn't wake up. Rabbeinu Zal writes like this: person that has fallen from the 70 faces of the Torah, that person is going to fall into a complete, a very deep sleep, where it's impossible, very, very difficult for the neshama to wake him up. And so she started to complain about him. So he made such tremendous effort. He sacrificed so much. He gave up so much of his life. Of his so many cycles of his years. In order to be able to bring me out of the trap that I'm in. Is because of that day where he was able to take her out, and he wound up losing it on the final day when she really would have come forward. He would have completed the whole. He would have come into perfection. He fell. She tried a tremendous tears. And what are we talking about? We're talking about the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah is inside of us. The Shekhinah is crying for us. The Shekhinah wants us to awaken, to join her, to come together with her, and to build up the world the way that it needs to be built up in oneness. Because we see a lot of people that want to do tshuva. People want to come back. But nonetheless, something always catches them and they fall. But the person himself, he wants to get out, but he gets tested. So therefore, she's really crying on him tremendously. Because she says like this, there's a tremendous amount of pity for you and pity for me too. Because the goodness that I want to bring into the world, the shefa, the unbelievable, unlimited bounty of kindness that Hashem Yisborach wants to bring, he's not going to be able to make it by you. Shekol kach zaman sha'ani kan, as long as I'm here, ve'eni yochel l'tzeis, I'm trapped here by the Sitra Achra, is that I can't get out. Zesav of Kol Bar Yisrael, this is really talking about every single Jew. Who falls into the depth of the great depth, the niksha b'reveirus chamuros, and he does maybe terrible things. So she's really crying and really suffering because of him. So this is what she says: that all this time that you're trying to get me out, all this time that you're trying to come to fruition, to be close to me, and you keep falling further and further away. And you're sleeping now a deep sleep. So then after that she does this, and now the story starts to get, well, a little bit further away from something simple. So after that, the princess takes a petula. This is a scarf, me'al rosha, that's on her head. The kosful love of the shalon. She writes on it in her tears. V'hinicha etzlo, and she leads it by him. V'amda v'yashva v'merkavta v'nasa misham. So she got back up. She sat down back on her chariot, which he says he used the word merkavta now, which before it was a coach, and she leaves from that place. So he says, the Rav Shik writes like this: what does he mean by she took a scarf from her head and she wrote on it with tears? So he said, "Hamitpachas meramezes ala machshavos." So what do you mean here? He says the scarf is a remez because it's on top of the head to a person's thoughts. Kibederek klal mitpachas hi kisui rosh, because it covers your head. V'gam hamachshavos mechasos es rosh adam. So also our head is always covered in thought. We think a lot. V'hi kasva olav b'demol shalos. She writes on this covering of his head, of her head. We're talking about the head of the Shekhinah. So he said, but she writes on with tears on that. What is the tzaddik doing? Why is Rabbeinu HaKodesh bringing us this story? Because he wants to bring out into fruition the souls of the Jewish people, because this is the plan that Hashem made. So whatever reason, we can't understand it except that to unite, as my thinking is, united this world with the next world is a tremendous amount of a reproduction of beauty, because this is how beauty in fact is reproduced, by the lower combining with the other, like just on Shabbos, when you come into Shabbos and you're uniting the days of the week with the Shabbos, which is Kodesh. If we can learn how to do this, little things, little tricks, the Ari has that he shows us, the Rashash, different things that you see there, to be able to unite those two worlds together, that you're creating something which is absolutely beautiful. The great Gan Eden right here in this world, in your life. But what happens is instead of being able to do that, the person has strange thoughts. We understand the thoughts, the sexual thoughts that people have that take them very far away. So it says like this: a man should not be thinking during the day, and something can happen to him. And there we're talking about something which is called shvichus zerul b'dala, which in English they call it like a wet dream. The person wastes his seeds. It's a whole subject there, the biggest subject in Kabbalah. So she writes on this scarf with tears because she sees that the thoughts of people are going in the wrong directions. And she's telling him how much it hurts her because he has such unbelievably selfish thoughts. Rabbeinu Zal says like this: person has to guard himself from thinking the wrong kinds of thoughts, adulterous thoughts, really, which causes begam in all of the worlds. Now that's a subject, and it is really the subject which leads us into the secrets of Pesach, which I'm considering going into this subject. It's not a subject for everybody, but it would be interesting to know it. People should know it. The thing about today is we're living in a time where these Kabbalistic things, which were so hidden for so long, are now right out there. And anybody can learn them. You do need tools to really understand the Ari. It's not so simple, of course. But you have Rabbeinu HaKodesh, who's really laying out a road for us to be able to travel on and become a Bucky going, but he says Bucky v'ayal, Bucky v'shuv. Bucky, when everything's going good, and you have to be an expert at that. You have to be an expert of getting out of things where things are really looking bad for you. At any rate, that's another shiur which I'm contemplating, and it's possible we may talk about the secrets of Pesach. But this is the shiur for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and my blessing to you. And main thing, there is a Shekhinah here. Find it and enjoy it. Bye-bye.